Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Oracles. In today's video, we're going to be talking about launchpads. We're going to be evaluating if this is a good strategy for investing your money in 2022. We're going to be talking about the cheapest ones and the more expensive ones that give you guaranteed allocation on new launches and new projects. So don't forget to subscribe and smash the like button. Join our Discord to keep updated on all our videos and news in the crypto space. So let me get started right away. So the first one we're going to be talking about is Polkastarter, which is one of the most famous launchpads out there. It is also, of course, one of the most expensive ones and one of the most rewarding as well. So if we take a look at the funded projects recently, just to get you started with these, the return at all-time high, it's all incredibly high. We're talking about 500%, 600%. And if we look at the number of projects we have down here, there's a huge number of projects that they are launching, definitely more than 2, 3, 4, sometimes even 5 or 6 per month. And of course, this is really, really good if you want to take part. Now, to the downside, it is expensive to get in. So the way it works is you have to have at least 250 polls. So every 250 polls token, you get one ticket. So it's a lottery ticket, and the chances of being listed, whitelisted for a project, so getting into that project, depend on the amount of polls that you're on. So if you look at the table here, if you have, for example, 1,000 poll tokens, you have 13% chances of getting whitelisted on a new project. Some of the new projects, even after you get whitelisted, they may be first come, first serve, so they may oversubscribe, which means that they allow for more people than what would be available in terms of money to take part to the project, and then basically becomes a first come, first serve until there is enough tokens available. So you also have to be quick, which may not be one of the best ways to approach a launchpad. And if you look at this article, I'm going to link it in the description down below. They talk about how to prepare for it, but especially just talk about pulse power, which simply means how many pulse tokens you have. So if we start talking about numbers, one poll token is about $2. So we are starting at the lowest tier with one ticket, which gives you 5% chances of getting whitelisted. So pretty much 1 in 20 at about $500. So if you want to do it on your own, you can start at $500. Otherwise, it's all up to the second tier, which we showed you here, which is 1,000 polls, so about $2,200. And remember, this whitelisting is not guaranteed, but there is a lot of projects. The next one we're going to talk about is EnjinStarter.
Yeah, so hi everyone. So EnjinStarter is another launchpad. This one is specifically for gaming and metaverse projects, such as Monster Galaxy, Scotty Beam. There are two gear systems, and the first one is a first come, first served system. It's changed recently, and now it works based on a token boost and a time boost system. So the more tokens you hold, the more allocation you get, and the longest you have these tokens, the boost also increases. But if you're looking for a guaranteed allocation, which means you are definitely going to get part to the IDO, then there are 3 tiers you can get into. So tier 1 gives you a tier weight of 25, and you need to hold a minimum of 25,001 EJS, which at current price, I think it's...
I think that would be about, one EGS is 4 cents. Yeah. So look at our table. So we're going to be sharing this table with you guys on our Discord, so don't forget to join the Discord. So we're talking about EnjinStarter here. So the minimum allocation, it's about $4,700.
I think that, yeah, that's tier 2. So tier 1 would be 1,175.
Okay. So
dollars, yeah.
About $1,700.
Yeah, and then there are 3 tiers, and depending on the tier you're at, your tier weight obviously increases.
Yeah, I think this is a good example here. So they're talking about, for example, $200. So if EnjinStarter decides to give out $200 worth of tokens on a new launch, then if you have the lowest guaranteed tier, your weight is weight 25, which means basically you get, say, essentially 1 unit available. So they divide it by the number of weights. They divide the pool effectively by the contribution and the number of available tokens, and then you get a certain weight. So in this case, for example, $200,000, depending on your weight, you would get one allocation, which would be $28. And for $100,000, which is half of that, you would get $14, and so on. And I guess the other thing was that the token boost that we talked about before for the lowest tier also applies to this tier. So I will link this in the description, and then you can take a look. Yeah, one thing that is worth looking at this, which is not present here, but I can show you about Polkastarter, is the circulating supply. So when you're investing in a launchpad, make sure that there is enough circulating supply, which means that if the launchpad is very new and is very promising, but they only released 10 or 20% of their tokens on the market, and then all of a sudden they release the other 80%, then of course the price is going to feel a lot of pressure and it's likely to go down. So, if you're taking this as an investment as well, you may want to take a look at this. If you're putting money into a launchpad just to join the launchpad, you don't care, you consider that as an entry ticket, then you're probably fine. Next up, I'm going to be talking about TrustSwap. So TrustSwap is one of the most exciting ones we've seen so far. I'm going to go back to our spreadsheet that we'll be sharing you, join the Discord. And on TrustSwap, basically the way it works is guaranteed allocation. You need to gain a certain score, and there is a lock-in time. So one of the things that we look at is, do we need to stake and do we need to lock? So there is a lock-in time of 90 days. Otherwise, you can buy 4,000 tokens and there is no lock-in times, but it takes 7 days to unstake the token. They don't give you any interest on the staking, which is not great, but the allocation is pretty decent, about $150 per launch. And the worst performers across all the ones I'm going to show you now, they were up 20% after 6 months or 1 year. And 80% of the supply is already circulating, so there isn't going to be much pressure from further tokens coming into the market. So tier 1 for guaranteed allocation is 4,000 swap tokens, which is about $4,000. So if you're doing this yourself or with a friend, this is actually really good. And that will give you about $150 allocation per project. And, if you consider that these guys are launching about 4 to 5 projects a month, and you get $150, and the average return, as you can see from this table here, these are top launches. We're talking about 15,000%, 10,000% at all-time high. And if you look at the column to the right-hand side, that's as of today. So 3,000%, 1,000%, 900%, and there is 17 pages like this. And even if we go to the last page, see if I can do that. Let's see. Yeah, so if we go to the last page, then you can see that even the worst one is plus 19% since the launch. So still really good. So, you're investing $4,000 in this, which is likely to either move upwards or downwards, but at the same time, you are getting a lot out of it from each of the launches. And then, yeah, this is the Reddit post from which we got the different tiers. So tier 1 at the time was very expensive, now it's much cheaper. So it's 4,000 swap tokens. All right, let's go to the next one. Talk about BlockPad.
Yeah, so BlockPad is another interesting launchpad, at least in my opinion. And this one doesn't really have many projects going on, but there are. So they already launched Sidious, which, if I'm not wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but more or less during the IDO, it 100x'd more or less.
Yeah, there was 100x of the IDO, so that was really, really good if you go into this, yeah.
And I think Sing City is probably going to do pretty much the same, which is the next IDO that is coming up. So definitely another launchpad.
Yeah, I guess you can see from here, guys, if you look at the allocation that you would have gotten from this, it was about $26 for the smallest allocation. Up here, base allocation, 1x, $26. So $26 times 100, I know that's an easy $2,000+ of profit. And then of course there is a vesting period, you don't get the money all in once, but you do get a bunch of the money right away, and that would be enough to cover your initial investment. Yeah. And if you look at
the tier system.
Yeah, if you want to look at the tier system, I'll leave to you.
Yeah, so depending on the tier you're at, your base allocation obviously increases. So the first 3 tiers are actually lottery based, so there is not a guaranteed allocation. Tier 1 would be 10% lottery, and it's $175, the equivalent as of today. If you're interested in getting a guaranteed base allocation, it would be tier 4, that's the cheapest one, and that one also gives you double the base allocation you would normally receive. So for Sidious, it would have been around $50.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. So this is a really good one. And we gave some scores to some of these. So we scored this 6 out of 10. I think this is a really good launchpad. Just going back on the ones we talked about before, Polkastarter also scores 6 for us. And Engine, which we already talked, scored 7, so slightly higher, but it's mostly focused on gaming, so it's a different sort of beast in that sense.
TrustSwap as well.
Yeah, TrustSwap, we talked about that as well. What was the score that we gave to TrustSwap? We
It was the
gave it,
highest.
I think, one of the highest scores, yeah, 8, based on how much they launch and how accessible it is for guaranteed allocations. Right, I'll let you talk about MoonEdge as well.
Yeah, so MoonEdge is actually something that you might look into if you have a lower budget. So all tiers are guaranteed IDO allocation, so this is very good. Tier 1, it's 5,000 moons, so their token, which equals to, if you
Maybe
look
we
at
can
the
go and check
spreadsheet.
it up.
Yeah.
So MoonEdge, where was that? MoonEdge, there we go. Right. So tier 1, so it would be $250.
Yeah, $250, so quite good, and then it goes on. And the pool weight also increases based on the tier you're at. I guess the only downside is there are not many projects launched yet, at least. And the remaining tokens go first come, first served. So
Yeah, I guess that's interesting, although I wouldn't really want to invest in something that hasn't sold out right away.
yeah, that's
Probably, I mean, unless you're really interested in that project. And the other thing was the minimum lock-in of 14 days. So you will have to lock your tokens for 14 days. I think that's pretty much it for this.
Yeah.
As Andrea said, there are many projects at the moment, but it is a good possibility, especially if you're on lower budget. Sorry, talking about MoonEdge,
Yeah.
yes. Right, and the last one we're going to talk about, it's called Copper. It's completely different. It's completely decentralized. There is no KYC, for example. There is no tiers. There is no minimum allocation. This is just completely free for anybody to go and contribute. And the way it works is basically doing a Dutch auction, which means that unless people start buying, the price will start going down, and will keep going down until people start buying the token and pushing the price upwards. So it's a very natural way of doing price discovery for a new asset in this case. Sorry. And if you look at the allocations, the projects that we had in the past, they have two different lists, the unvetted ones and the vetted projects. I definitely recommend checking the vetted ones only. The unvetted ones could literally be anything. There is a big warning sign that tells you here to be very careful what you do, and anybody could go and launch your project here. So if you're looking at doing that, for example, that would be a good option. And if you look at the vetted projects, there is usually a very long list that we can see. Astrogil Ventures was one of the big ones we were interested just a couple of weeks ago. And if we take a look at how this worked, for example, you can see that it started at a certain price, which was set usually by the team and initial market cap. And then that decreased until people started eventually buying at a price that they thought was fair, buying for, which is about 86 cents. And then it went up for there, and the IDO ended at 164. So you could basically be buying at any point in time here during the opening window, and then effectively getting the best price, and also ensuring that you're not buying at the highest point. So I think this is it for today. If you found this interesting, definitely subscribe to our channel and join our Discord. We'll be sharing this whole spreadsheet. We have all sort of launchpads. We analyze more than 40 launchpads. There is a few ones that are really cheap and really good for individuals. There are others that are really, really good if you want to do group investments with your friends. So definitely join the Discord. Feel free to ask us any questions, and you will find a spreadsheet there. So thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.